Thank you for joining us for a deeper dive into the Cloudentity Authorization engine. In the last video, we went through the demo setup process. In it, we spun up a Kubernetes cluster locally and deployed our Cloudentity security mesh and two of our demo microservices protected by the Edge API gateway. Today, we'll extend that demo and learn how to secure those microservices independently and secure access to the API gateway. To test this flow, we're using the financial front end exposed on port 4000. Let's start by authenticating. On first access, we're prompted with a consent page, and my client is requesting access to the following information. As you see, the user has not yet granted permissions to the financial portal resource server. That's by default, so let's authorize. Once authorized, I can list cards, activate, and deactivate them. This is all allowed because there are no policies applied on the Edge API gateway or at the microservices level. Let's review the resource server configuration. We have already prepared sample policies configured here, which are checking if the user has access to the financial portal. Now let's apply that policy. Whenever a client to the financial front end is making a call to get financial portal card lists, it'll try to evaluate that policy. So let's start by applying the policy and check if the user has appropriate permissions. After applying the policy, it takes a few seconds to propagate policies to the local instance. We're ready to try again. Our access will be denied. This is because the policy, by default, is deny all in good security practice. But it's applied on this endpoint and we failed when we accessed. One of the conditions of the policy is that the user needs to have a specific scope called access. These scopes are connected directly to the resource, which the financial portal resource server exposes. We have three of them: access, list cards, and managed cards. Access is for the access list, managed is for managing cards, etc. If you'd like to grant one of the permissions to the users, we go to Users and select the user we have and select Grant Permission. From the list here, we grant Financial Portal Access Permission. Now, as we access the financial portal again, as you can see, the new scope is displayed here. Since the user has permissions, he can now grant the scope to applications. So let's check it out, right? Now, all of the cards will go through the API gateway, and the user is able to list the cards. Let's create another security layer in the financial service microservice. We would like to add a network layer microsegmentation authorization policy to ensure that all the calls to the financial service are made only from an Edge API gateway. To accomplish that, we can just use client validator parameter and check if the issuer field equals Edge API gateway. In order to apply that policy, in the API configurator, we need to select a given policy from the box, drop down, and that's it. It takes a few seconds to propagate, and we should be able to see the cards present, as the policy will pass, and because the issuer is always the Edge API gateway. However, we can modify that policy to say issuer equals Edge API gateway XXX, an invalid parameter. Once the policy is updated and the changes propagate, then we'll get access denied, because there is a mismatch between the Edge API issuer, defined in the policy, and the Edge API gateway issuer itself. Let's go fix that. All right, it's corrected, and we can still activate and deactivate cards. Everything looks good. Let's take a final look at the credit card service. Here we have two predefined policies. The first makes sure that whomever hits the credit card microservice, that those requests come from the financial service microservice, creating again a segmented network of private communications between the two services. To accomplish that, the issuer must be equal to financial service. Additionally, the user must have managed card permissions granted. Let's try to apply that policy. We'll apply that policy first to both active and inactive operations. Now let's check the service. I am able to list the policies. However, I am not able to change the state of the cards. To fix that issue, I must grant an additional permission to the user. So I'm navigating to Users, selecting the proper users, and granting proper permissions. Once we have that in place, we will need to re-access. As you can see, the scope is available here under the Financial Portal Resource Server. So let's authorize the app and check that it works. All right, we're all good. Multiple network microsegmentations, authentications, authorizations between microservices. That's about it for this video. Thank you.